Lindsey Buckingham has joined us here, and I don't want to confuse all the record fans out there, having had the, and still having had the #1 best-selling album of all time, Rumors. You are still with Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, absolutely. We're actually almost done with the new album. We're about 80% finished, and it should be coming out sometime after the first of the year.
But how angry are they with you, Lindsey, that you have done this dastardly thing and put out your own album?
I think it would have been a much bigger threat to the group had we not been balancing it out by having a new album that's almost finished. The reason that you see there have been 3 albums by members of Fleetwood Mac in the last year.
Is it because you're not satisfied with what you're doing within the confines of the group?
No, it's just that people forget that since I joined the group, since Stevie and I joined the group in the end of '75, we've been touring for a year, making an album for a year, completing the cycle, and really never having more than about a month off in between. And consequently, when we finished touring in support of the Tusk album last October of '80,
right,
we decided to take 8 or 9 months off for the first time, and having that time
you couldn't
to
stand
fill,
it.
No, I mean, 3 weeks in, and I was raring to go again. So everyone had a chance to be a little bit selfish, you know, for a change.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, that is good.
Yeah.
That is good. Your mother lives near my mother.
My mother...
In Northern California.
Exactly. My mother lives in San Jose now, but she grew up in Burlingame, and I understand that's where your mother
yeah,
lives.
we used to play football. I didn't play football against your mother, but I mean, that was the big competition there.
San Mateo versus
Burlingame,
Oh,
sure.
exactly. Yeah, one of those rivalries. In fact, my mother used to come and listen to you sing when you were with Freddie Martin.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know the name Freddie Martin.
I know the name Freddie Martin.
He is a rock and roll favorite.
He is, yes. It's a real biggie there.
Yeah. You said Stevie Nicks, you started together before Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
And there was also, from what I read, a romantic interest there, which has since pooped out.
Well, Stevie and I were in a band around the Bay Area for a number of years, and about the time that broke up in, I guess, 1970, we got romantically involved and continued to do so for about 4.5 years.
How's the working relationship today?
It's better than it has been for a long time. That was one of the things I think that sold the Rumors album, was the fact that it was sort of your musical soap opera, in a sense. During the time we were recording the Rumors album, Christine McVie and John McVie, who are 2 members of the band and who were also married at the time, were in the process of breaking up. Stevie and I were in the process of breaking up, and it was a very difficult thing to keep your priorities
Why don't you just call the album Breaking Up? Why fool around with rumors?
Well, it was a little more simple. I think all you have to do is listen to it, and you can hear the pain on the vinyl anyway. I think that's one of the things that sold the record.
Do you know what Cal Rudman says behind your back?
I have no idea.
You are the brains of Fleetwood Mac.
Well, thanks, Cal.
Yeah. You do.
I'll get him killed now.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
But you're responsible for much of the creativity of their work. Do they ever question your songs, your decisions? And isn't that a lot of pressure once you've had the #1? How many albums did Rumors sell?
Somewhere around 16 million.
Oh, that's $160 million gross. You got any on you?
I didn't bring my royalties with me today.
Good heavens,
Well,
that is...
most of that goes to the record company, though.
Yeah, but that is big business.
It can be big bucks if you hit that big.
Yeah.
But that's only one side of the whole.
But is that awful lot of pressure once you've had a album that big, and then you have to make the decisions on what they're going to do in the next album, and they all say, well, will this be as big as Rumors?
Well, there's 2 ways you can go with that. Obviously, something that sells that many copies is a very difficult act to follow from any standpoint.
Right.
We could have done an album that was very much like Rumors and more or less gone for the money again, gone for the safe route, and it would have, we would have gotten a certain amount of flack for, you know, going for the money. We decided that having shown that we could be a commercial band, we would show that we had another side to us as well, which was an experimental, a little more artsy-craftsy side. And
there's a lot of big band sound in your album.
in this album, yes,
Yeah.
there is a bit of 40s influence, I would say.
Is that what's happening now? Are we going to hear more of the big band sound? More of the romantic?
I don't know. Cal's talking classical over here. I think one thing that we could both agree on is that a larger number of players seems to be on the horizon. I had an idea that was borrowed from the big bands that I wanted to take on the road. Again, it might be unfeasible financially because things are very expensive these days, but it was called the Flying V, and it was borrowed from the big bands. In other words, taking a section of 4 or 5 instruments of the same instrument and having them all play the same thing or variations or harmonies of the same thing. I wanted to take out 5 or 6 guitarists and a bass player and 5 or 6 drummers and line them up in a flying V, and you could get a very orchestral thing happening with all those overtones. So this album of mine was influenced in a loose sense by some of my father's 78s.
Oh, they must have been mine.
They must have been, yes, Freddie Martin and
That's right.
all the big bands.
The old acetate, yeah. Come on, do something else. I love this album. It's really good, Lindsey. Which one are you going to do?
This is probably going to be the next single. It's called It Was I. It's an old tune.
Where is it?
Oh, where?
Oh, here it is.
There it is.
Such 3 little tiny words, I didn't see them. They're buried under love from here, love from there. It was I. Is that grammatically correct?
I certainly.
Yes. Yeah, it wouldn't be it were I.
It's close enough for rock and roll.
Yeah. Lindsey Buckingham, It Was I. Yeah.